Hello, Facebook. I think we are live. Hi, Kim McCarthy here, candidate for state representative for District 73. Coming to you, I think this is probably close to my first ever live event. So hopefully it's all going to go as planned. This is the first in a series of Friday events that I'm wanting to continue through the summer and going through to November, because this is one of the only ways that I can connect with the voters in this district, and vice versa, to allow voters to get a understanding of who I am, what I stand for, and what my vision is when elected to the State House to represent District 73. So in case you don't know, District 73 includes Bellbrook, Beavercreek, Fairborn, and Yellow Springs, as well as the townships that surround them, which would be Bath Township, Beavercreek Township, Miami Township, and the township that I live in, Sugar Creek. So it's basically the western part of Greene County. Kind of takes a bit of a jog around Xenia. So yeah, so I want to be able to use this space as a space for conversation, to create an opportunity for people to be able to ask questions of me as a candidate, and for us just to have conversations about the things that matter to us here in this district. The state of Ohio controls many aspects of our life, of our lives, I guess. Schools obviously is one of the big components of being in the State House. The state of Ohio has a constitutional duty to provide for that series of common and efficient schools across the state. So personally, the school funding is a huge issue for me. It's a big issue for many in our community. I know Beavercreek as well is experiencing similar issues related to funding. Yellow Springs also. And I'm sure Fairborn does as well. I mean, it's not something that is just pertinent to us. It's applicable to every school across the state. So it's been 20 years since the Supreme Court ruled that the method of funding was unconstitutional, but unfortunately we've been let down by our Republican-led legislature, and they have not done anything to fix the problem. So that's one of the things I'm going to deal with. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling at this point. I did want to start this series by talking about why I'm doing this. I am not a career politician. I didn't grow up wanting to be a politician. I'm not a politician at this point, but I am a politically engaged citizen, is how I like to refer to myself. It was back in, I guess to go back a step further, I'm from Australia. I immigrated here 25 years ago. So I had a lot to learn when it came to this country, not having grown up here. Can you hear my ducks? I've got 4 baby ducks just out there, and they've just woken up all of a sudden, and they're chirping for my attention. They're so cute. Anyway, so 2011 was when Occupy Wall Street started, if you can remember when that movement began. And that was a movement that sprung out of the fact that Wall Street was not held responsible for the global financial collapse of 2008. And that was a movement that really spoke to me, because I had begun to recognize the impact or the influence that corporations had over our government. And I could see that the rules were being made to benefit them and not us. So when that movement sprung up, I was like, wow, some other people feel the same way as I do. And so I went downtown in Dayton and joined the local Occupy Dayton branch. And, you know, I just met some amazing people, and I learned so much about politics and activism and organizing. And, you know, from that point forward, I really have only continued to build on that. So I'd say through 2011 through 2016, I was focused on a lot of federal level issues. Monsanto was a big one. I was the organizer for March Against Monsanto for a number of years. And I was involved in some lobbying efforts to get GMOs labeled on our foods and different things like that. So in 2016, when Donald Trump was elected, I walked out of that ballot box and I guess polling place, and was really disturbed because I didn't see very many Democrats on the ballot at the local level. So that was when I decided, you know, what's going on here? I should probably go into the Greene County Democratic Party and see if they need some help. So that was what I did, and luckily a whole lot of other people were doing the same thing. And it was through that involvement that I decided to look closer to home and decided to start attending the Greene County Commission meetings, because they basically fit in with my work schedule at the time. So they meet weekly, 1 o'clock on a Thursday. So I started attending those, and being an accountant, I came in at a time when they were just getting ready to pass their budget. So I started looking at that. And I just started questioning all the things they were doing, really. And, you know, they were kind of very happy to see, have me there in the beginning with, to have some citizen involvement. But it didn't take long for them to change their mind. Oh, here comes my puppy coming through, tripping over the, come here, Boomer, up here. It didn't take long for them to change their mind on my participation. I do remember the first time I stood up to, or kind of put my hand up to say that I wanted to ask a question, and one of the commissioners said, "Why don't you come on down here and speak? You've got such a lovely blouse on. We'd love to all see it." And I was like, "Excuse me? My blouse?" Firstly, I don't even know if I own a blouse. I don't really call them that if I do. But yeah, that was when I realized, yeah, I don't know if these people are going to be representing my values so much. Then it didn't take long for them to say to me at another time when I was up there, "If you don't like the way we do things, why don't you just run for office yourself?" So I guess maybe that was my first, that was the first leaning I had. Oh, I've got this pulled out. The dog pulled my cord out. All right, back. Can you hear me now? That's funny. Yeah, so anyway, going to the county commission meetings, I saw that the state had such a big influence over the county and the cities, all the funding that they receive. I looked to the state representative for our district, and I saw someone who wasn't advocating for what we needed. I could tell that they were all on the same side. They all considered themselves a team. There was this unspoken rule that they didn't question each other. So when you're all Republicans here at the county level and you have all Republicans as state reps and up the ladder, it's not really cool to question them why they aren't fighting for funding for you. So anyway, that was kind of what made me decide to run. You know, I am a mom. I have the same concerns as other mothers in the district. I want my children to be able to have opportunities when they grow up. I want every child to have opportunities when they grow up. So anyway, that is a little bit of my story, what made me start getting involved in this. So I ran in 2018, and while I didn't win, I did get the highest percentage that a Democrat had gotten in decades, basically since the last time they won in back in the 80s. So we made this 12-point shift in one election, which was fantastic. We knocked on 15,000 doors. We shattered fundraising records. And yeah, it was a very interesting and highly educational experience. So as far as our campaign now, we have had donations that have been fantastic from the area. We just had a campaign finance deadline. And when I looked at my campaign report versus my opponents, I saw that I added up. So far in 2020, he has only had 6 donations from people in the district. He certainly had other donations from PACs and different unions and business groups, but from actual people, he's had 6. And we've had 138. So I'm extremely pleased by this, and I think it shows the level of support that we have because we're actually talking about the real issues that we are facing. So, hi Dorothy, I see a question there. Okay, I will get to that shortly. Thank you for the question. I wanted to just talk about COVID-19 before we go much further. Yellow Springs, you might have seen yesterday, announced that they passed a law making it mandatory to wear masks in the village. So I think that's a really positive move. And if you saw any of the talk online about it, you'll see that many, many people felt that it was a restriction of their freedom. And frankly, I just don't get it. I think the science shows us, the evidence of other countries and the use of masks shows us that it is effective in preventing you from spreading it to others. So we need to have kind of a maximum load of people wearing them for it to be effective. So here in Greene County, we just got designated as a hotspot. My zip code where I live is one of them, the Xenia area. So even though Ohio overall is declining, this area here is experiencing an uptick. So that's not good, obviously. There are going to be pop-up testing sites in those high-numbered zip codes, so you can keep an eye out for that if you want to get a free test done. Looks like there's going to be one on the 24th of June in Xenia. So I'm not sure exactly where, but coronavirus.ohio.gov is where all the information is. But yeah, you know, we have to take this seriously. People who are politicizing this and going against science is, you know, it's detrimental to all of us. You know, if there's one thing that this virus has shown us is that we are only as well as our sickest neighbor, and we are all in this together, and we have to act cooperatively so that we can, you know, keep this virus down. My daughter's out in Australia right now, and they've done an amazing job. They're down to just like, well, last time I spoke to her, she had 0 active cases in their state. So they really have locked things down, provided a lot of social support while doing it. That's the big difference, right? You can't just lock everything down and not help people. So yeah. Hopefully nobody you know and love has gotten sick with this virus. Nobody I know personally, but I know some friends of friends who have just come down with it recently. We've had a lot of businesses in the area that have kind of had outbreaks of late. I think it looks like 21 people in Xenia, and then in Fairborn is the other hotspot in Greene County, 47 people. I think that's just in the last 2 weeks from June 2nd to 14th. But yeah, we cannot afford to be complacent. And like I said, I hope everyone is doing all they can to keep that number as low as we can. All right, so the next thing I just wanted to talk about is Juneteenth. Today is the 19th of June. Speaking of our Black neighbors, Dorothy, I will admit I did not know about the Juneteenth holiday. I didn't learn about it in school, obviously, and it is something more specific to Texas. But I am excited to know about it now. Since 1865, that was when it was first acknowledged on June 19th. It was basically the day that the news of the Emancipation Proclamation reached the last place in the country, Galveston, Texas, where the last slaves were freed. So I think this holiday is of massive importance, especially right at this time where the national conversation is finally focusing on the treatment of Black Americans in this country and the issue of racism that has never been dealt with properly. So I noticed on my feed this morning, there was a lot of large businesses that have given their employees holidays today. I'm assuming this is the first year, again, because of what's happening on the national level, and that's fantastic. I logged into my payroll website for work today, Paycor, and saw that they have given their employees a paid holiday today, which is great. Franklin County announced that they're going to replace Columbus Day with this holiday. So that's amazing up in the capital where Columbus is in Franklin County. There's a Texas University. I saw Nike. I saw a whole bunch of national companies changing this day. I mean, to me, this is, if you want to have a day to celebrate for our country, this is the day that should be celebrated. What have we got? A day of learning is what a lot of people are deeming this holiday to be. And as someone who is new to the holiday, I think that is a great idea. That's what a lot of companies are kind of pushing. And we're glad that Trump changed his rally from today to another day, because Tulsa obviously is the site of one of the worst racial massacres in the history of this country in 1921. So I'm glad that people spoke up and that he did shift that rally. I want to just read a quote here from Mark Banks. He's the National Press Secretary at the NAACP. The significance of Juneteenth has always been meaningful in the Black community, but in the face of the continuous onslaught of racial incidents, police brutality and killings, and hate crimes, we're witnessing a renewed effort to uplift holidays that bring attention to the real history of this country. This year and every year, we should acknowledge the sobering truth of what Juneteenth signifies and mark the occasion on a federal level. One thing is clear, the awakening taking place in the US right now and around the world amplifies the truth about this country and the ills of its past. So that's a great statement from him, and I agree with him wholeheartedly. So, yeah, we can only hope that this holiday continues to grow in significance for the nation as a whole. And I encourage everyone to take it to your local city, county, township, village, and ask them to recognize this day in whatever way they see fit. But it's definitely something we need to continue to push. Hi, Jim. And hi, Ryan. You didn't learn about it in school either. Well, it wasn't just me growing up in Australia. Obviously, it was not a part of our curriculum. But anyway. All right, so I'm trying to keep this to about 20 minutes. Looks like I've gone to 19 minutes. I will just address Dorothy. She asked about what I could do for our local Black neighbors once elected in office at the State House. So one of my major policy stances is universal health care. Right now there's a bill, HB 292, that's in the House, and the adoption of a universal healthcare system is definitely going to help everybody, frankly, but we have a massive problem in this state with Black infant mortality and maternal death rates. We are amongst the highest in the nations. Our Black sisters and their babies are dying at rates many times higher than white women and babies. So having a universal healthcare system where every person has access to all of the healthcare needs that they have is going to make a huge difference in these women and their babies getting the care that they need to have a healthy pregnancy, and then to have the first few years of their babies' lives to have a healthy and cared for situation there. So in a short minute, that would be my answer. What's Jim saying here? Oh, you were ignorant, Jim. I guess we can probably all say that. So anyway, all right. Well, again, this is my first time just warming up here, working out how this goes. But I just want to say thank you to whoever has joined in, and I know this will be saved for viewing on the Facebook page for later. So if you're stopping in later to see this, thank you for doing that as well. I appreciate any participation that we have, and as always, I want everyone to be an educated voter. We have seen that just picking a party and ticking the boxes all the way down on the same side has not been beneficial for our communities. And I know I've been guilty of that in the past, just ticking the box with the letter after the name that I want. I don't do that anymore. There is too much at risk. We need to know who the people are we're voting for. We need to know what they stand for. And I'm not even going to sit here and tell you to vote for me. I will suggest it, of course, but I really want you to look at my platform, and I want you to do the same for my opponent, and make the decision that is best for you. You know, not everyone's going to vote for me, and that's okay. But we can't just continue to vote for a party when we don't understand who that person is and what they represent. So, yeah. That's about it. Thanks, Jim. Jim's one of my biggest supporters. He doesn't even live in my district. He lives over in Montgomery County, but I appreciate the support from everyone, because when I'm elected, I will be legislating for him in Montgomery County. The laws I will be passing are going to affect every person in Ohio. So there's incentive for everyone to tune in, listen, and of course, I have to say it, donate. Little bits count. Monthly, recurring, small amounts help as well. So I'm sure there's a link on my website, kimmccarthyoh.com/donate. And my issues are on that website. And of course, you can send me a Facebook message. And yeah, that's about it from me today. Be an educated voter, and thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next Friday on my porch. Thank you. Just got to find the end button. Oh, there it is. Bye.